Of sound, Lavistro wakes in the underground. Cyber dragon host seizes the helm. Dive into the madness of virtual realms. Welcome to DragonCast. Fire breathing wine, screaming loud. Lavistro's here to shake the crowd. Psychotic dragon ready to ignite. Hold on tight, we're taking flight. From Gamergate to Goonergate, woke crusaders spew their hate. Lies unfold before our ears. Podcast rage to calm our fears. Reclaim gaming in DragonCast. Fire breathing wine, screaming loud. Lavistro's here to shake the crowd. Psychotic dragon ready to ignite. Hold on tight, we're taking flight. DragonCast. Worlds clash in endless collision. Gaming news with a fierce precision. With a spark so wild it breaks the norm. In the tempest's eye, a your analyst face the score. Truth burns with a psychotic roar. Corrupt suits sneer what they despise. DragonCast will open your eyes. Integrity found in DragonCast. Fire breathing metal, screaming loud. Lavistro's here to shake the crowd. Psychotic dragon ready to ignite. Hold on tight, we're taking flight. DragonCast. DragonCast. Of justice cut through the dark. Lavistro's roar ignites the spark. A dragon's heart fiercely defends the gaming world. Our passion ascends. This is DragonCast. DragonCast.
And we're live, everybody. Sorry about that. I forgot to take that thing off loop. I'll make sure to do that for the next stream. Just seems like this thing is not showing the live chat for. I'll just have to take that off. But we do see that I do see Sonia Lizette is here. The lovely Sonia over on the YouTubes. Oop, that's later. Yeah, so, and we also have GPB 222 over on the Kicks. We are live on X. We are live on Kick. We are live on Twitch. And we're live on YouTube. So, give me a moment to figure out which one. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I thought this thing was working. I guess not. I still have to do it. And Frostfank's here. What's up, Frosty? Okay, as you can tell from the thumbnail, I have an interesting title. But before I continue, please like and share the stream. Share it out to all your friends on Twitch, Discord, Facebook. This is the third episode of DragonCast, and y'all got spoiled because this is only a weekly DragonCast, and we had the pilot episode a few days late, talking about Goonergate, and then we had the Xbox stream, developers direct. coverage on Thursday, and now we're talking about weekly news that's been going on in the Upgrade. And so, while there's a lot of things that were going on in the gaming scene, I decided to choose a select few. And if we have time, we will also discuss a new game that's being developed as well. So, that being said, welcome to DragonCast. Let's get on to it. So, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, if y'all notice, I couldn't find the original tweet. You know how Twitter works. Once it's a couple of days old, it gets lost into the void of Twitter. You have to go looking for it. Being a Dragon parent, I didn't have that time. Next time, I'll make sure to bookmark it. But I'm just going to say in a disclaimer, this is to be an objective news source. I'm going to give my spin on what I see and what I think it could be. But I'm going to be neutral and let y'all decide. Because there's a lot of things going on. And while I do love Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, you know, we're gonna be trying to be as objective as possible. So in the Discord forums, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right? The whole thing was a controversy of a different colored like Africans in the Kingdom Come Deliverance, and there's a gay scene, right? So I came across this post, and I know Hypnotic covered it as well. So I will give him credits because he did it first. But I found out on the video he did it while I was saving this for today. So Dead Phoenix over on Steam says he just did a bit of fact checking, and he goes, "Is this game banned in Saudi Arabia?" At the time of this post of January 18th, not at the moment. I did hear that apparently recently today I saw a tweet saying it is banned, at least off the PlayStation store. It's not in the PlayStation store's market for Saudi Arabia. Was this post about a gay scene? No, it's about indecency, drinking, sex, defense against God Act. Is there a gay character? Yes. There is definitely Sir Istvan Toph, one of the main antagonists from KCD1, who is gay. Is there an unskippable cutscene? No. Confirmed by both official sources and players playing the game right now, no cutscene is unskippable. Which is, I think, pretty good because you can skip a lot of cutscenes in KCD1, right? Is there unavoidable Henry gay scene? No, confirmed by both sources and players playing the game right now. Henry is not forced into anything. Everything is up to the player. So basically, it still has the illusion of choice. While most woke games, looking at you, Last of Us 2, you can't avoid certain scenes if you didn't want them, right? This is kind of like Dragon Age 1, where you have, I think even Dragon Age 2 and 3 as well, where you have a gay character, or you can choose to pursue that relationship with that character or shut it off. So basically, your actions, your dialogue choices define what's going to happen in that relationship mechanic. So that being said, I'm not trying to defend anything, but I'm just saying your choice is to find it. Is it there a possible gay romance? Maybe player who already finished the game stated he didn't met any option to be gay, but one guy was really friendly. Maybe if you try hard enough, you could end with him. Who knows? Right? If there will, you gotta understand this guy is probably English as a second language. I'm just reading what he said. So if there will be gay romance, will there be consequences for it? Yes, confirmed from multiple official sources. All your actions will have consequences according to medieval, historical, and social norms. And we've seen that with KD1. So based on the mechanics of KD1 and KD2, there's not really a change other than there's a possibility of a gay romance. And we're going to get into that, but I think it might still fit the lore. Just bear with me. I'm not an apologist. Again, I'm not defending the game. I'm just stating an objective statement. Proof. Yes, KDC1 Women's Slot DLC. There's an opinionated woman having problems with male ruled world. Guess what? You can literally send her burn at the stake for her opinions and being a woman. There's a lot just other than that. There's a lot of chances for you could do stuff like that. For example, we just got done playing KCD last night, and we had an option where we could let the guy who was a counterfeiter go. We could have done all kinds of things, right? We had different options, and we chose to jail him. We chose to jail his accomplice that led us to him, right? As well. Is there black set character? No, all the set character, sex and other Europeans are white, right? This is where we're going to get into the black character. And then there black character? Yes, it is a black Moor medic. Traveling with Sigismund's army, the bad guy, he is not staying in Bohemia. He is traveling with the army camp among all other ethnicities and races that the Hungarian army consisted of. All right, so before I continue on, I want to point out that there was a certain 1990s Robin Hood movie with Morgan Freeman in it, right? Morgan Freeman was, I can't remember I want to say it was Kevin Costner. I can't remember. He was Robin Hood's sidekick, right? He was a Moor. He was black. No one seemed to have problem with it back then. All right. It wasn't forced in there. It was just, what if it was their take of Robin Hood? What if Little John was a Arabic Moor, based on the fact that Sir Rodham of Luxury may have gone to the Crusades with King Richard at that time, if you're familiar with the Robin Hood lore. It's not like Robin Hood or whatever that TV show was in Canada that got laughed at, that was a laughing stock, where they replaced Robin with a female version of Robin, and everyone was black and it was ghetto and all this other stuff, right? So that right there's a difference, right? So here, I don't see the problem with Moors being in Europe, because there's a I will show a historical evidence to that from the 1400s, which this game is based on, and we'll see about, as they say here, is it historically accurate? Not definitely, but it is plausible. Hungarian armies consist of multiple diverse groups, sometimes even parts of Asia, hordes, or people from the Byzantine Empire. Traveling Moor medic could get there, and it would be actually the most plausible way to get a black character into Central Europe. So right then and there, it's not just saying like, oh, we're going to put this black character in there. There might be a backstory to explain why this character is in here. Is he feminist and preachy? No. Most infamous screenshot is out of context. Henry, who by all sources call him a devil at first, can ask him about his lands. He then says all good and bad about both lands, showing that every land is different, with different people and different culture, against current multiculturalism and wokeism. His line about women reflect even today's age Muslim perspective, where they believe that they are better to women as they guard their chastity. Is code of conduct made by Warhorse? No, it is by Playon. War has no power above it. Is the code of conduct misinterpreted? Freedom Fighter 76, hello. Kinda. The most infamous part of the copy paste of Steam Deal is officially saying both me and Steam can ban you for this. All right, so I'm going to get, for those of you who are a Hypnotic server, or those of you who are my server, or those of you who are in a server where I have helped polish it and revamp it, you're going to notice in the rules that all the rules of Discord's TOS are enforceable. And this is because that's their server. I'm not defending Warhorse or Playon for this. All right, and we're gonna cover that in a moment. But when you are a guest, let's say you're renting a house, right? Let's say you're renting a house, and you have to follow the rules of the contract of that rent. And it says, for example, you can't smoke in your house, right? And then or actually it says smoking is optional. Let's go with that. Smoking is optional. And then you come around and say, for your rules, you can't smoke in the house. Or let's say you both agree smoking can't be done in a house, and then your friend comes over and smokes in a house. They're a guest on your area of the platform, right? So they have to abide by your rules and the rules of the TOS. The difference is, unless they live in the same apartment complex or something like that, it's up to you to tell them that, right? So when you're in Discord's server, you're probably not allowed to say or do certain things. Now, is that enforced in some of these servers? That depends on the server, right? For example, this Discord server says you can't do this or that, and in Hypnotic servers it says, for example, free speech. But if you do something to make yourself an asshole, the mods will ban you. Trust me, I'm one of those mods. I don't like banning people. I don't like timing out people, but I will, because rules are rules. In fact, that's every time when I have to enforce a rule. That's why I used to always post the John Wick gift that says rules. And I even held a Hypnotic when I mod for him when he breaks his own rules. I even hold him accountable for his actions, even though I can't do nothing to him. I just say, "Hey, boss, you're breaking your own rule." So here, the PlayOn's code of conduct and Steam's code of conduct isn't necessarily Warhorse's fault, but I will say Warhorse should have said, "This is not us. We had to follow the rules of the company above us," or like we had to abide by their policies. They make the rules here, and blah 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 blah, right? Is the code of conduct a good thing? No, but Warhorse is not at fault here, as I stated. PlayOn and Steam itself is. Is this just overblown controversy based on hoaxes and misinterpretations? Yes, absolutely, and I agree. Okay. Just like I said about the Goonergate, right? I had to explain the difference between a Christian and a Pharisee, as I call them, right? And we went for 4 hours on that, and I hope we don't do that here. But there's people out there that are so ingrained in that now we're on factions, right? Like we have Goonergate, we have pro Goonergate, we have anti Goonergate, we have pro woke, anti woke, like all these factions, right? That we're so ingrained that once we smell woke, once we think something is woke, we run away from it. We're like, nope, we don't want this, right? So he continues saying 90% is easily confirmable by simply using the internet in your brain. If you believe more rumors than hours and hours of video game footage and option of actual gamers playing it right now, there's something wrong with you. Now, I kind of agree and disagree with this, right? So when you play, when you get a code from a game, there are certain stipulants, right? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. For example, they could be they're told not to do spoilers, right? Don't spoil the game for everybody, or don't say anything or they could say don't say anything negative about this, or don't mention this, right? That could be in there in those agreements, right? So that's just saying, like there could be, it could be forthcoming. We don't know the agreements they've had when they got their free copies. Me personally, if Warhorse gave me a free copy, I said no, I'm gonna wait till I pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. Unless you're telling me I can say whatever I want in the game. Sort of like Star Wars theory, right? He said that about Star Wars Outlaws. Like, I'm not doing that unless I can say what I want. Because then my viewers will have a little bit more respect for me because I'm giving a fair and balanced opinion. I'm not restricted in that. If you consider the game woke and DI infected, even after this fact-checking post, I have nothing else to say to you, except I feel kind of sorry for you. There's literally no game for you, as even Mass Effect is more woke than this game. Bioware just confirmed everything I wrote here. Some people who played the game already supported everything, and you should go read the Bioware post yourself, which we will show the original post, all right? So don't worry. I'm just going to go through a couple more things here. I picked this one out because it's going to what I thought of when I heard Daniel Valvera's when I read Daniel Valvera's post. You have the option to be gay IRL. This now means you are forever bi because IRL doesn't have the programming to turn off gay options. And people are talking about it, like they're trying to say this is a win, right? But I want you to understand something here. Because like this person says, fascinating. Do people also have the choice to be gay, or do gay people have a choice to be hetero IRL? I want you to remember that because we're going to come back to that. Okay. Here's the Steam forum guidelines from Deep Silver. Right. This is it overrode the previous one. Respect others, treat everyone fairly. We're not trying to stifle free speech, but ad hom attacks. So like saying, oh, you're a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobic, criticizing others for their choices. I'm not going to buy this game because it's woke. Well, you're just stupid. You're just being stupid, for example. Whether the in-game or in conversation has no place here. Stay on topic. Keep discussions focused on the product. That's what they want. I mean, that part is fair, I will say. And we did talk about free speech and the limitations of free speech and by the law's determination in Pharisees, Christian v. Pharisees podcast episode 1. No spoilers without warning. Use spoiler tags or clear label post details. I mean, yeah, it's a new game. People don't want to get spoiled on that one. No spam or self-promotion. Follow Steam guidelines. And I believe I clicked on them here. Here's the Steam guidelines, rules and reviews, right? So they have their online conduct rules. Here's the online conduct. Don't engage in unlawful activity, post illegal stuff, violate others' personal rights, harass other users on Steam personnel, disrupt, damage, or manipulate Steam, disrupt or damage other users' computers, cheat, violate others' IP rights, improperly gather or distribute information, engage in commercial activity. This is their online conduct, right? We'll go back to this. Well, no, that's not one. Team discussions and comment threads. Be respectful of yourself and other players. Interactions with other players should not be abusive, disparaging, inflammatory, or create an environment that is unwelcoming. Don't be an asshole, like trolling, all this stuff, right? You can read this. You can pause this later if you want and read it. Be constructive and avoid off-topic content, spamming, posting topics in incorrect tabs, bumpy threads, blah, 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 blah. Like another way of calling it is necroing threads, right? Commercial content is not permitted. Advertisement, referral promotions, recruitment, gambling, raffles, giveaways, blah, blah, blah. Don't discuss or engage in lawful or prohibited activity. Basically, don't do anything that could get you arrested. User reviews, user uploaded content. Basically, it's pretty much being consistent. I don't see anything here about hate speech. That was different thing that we discussed, right? So I don't see that here in the Steam guidelines. And like we said, they said, follow Steam's guidelines. You don't see this in the Deep Silver's post, which is not the same as the one that was previously done. That's why I'm going with the current, right? Because people had a lot of issues with that, saying, "Oh, this is woke." Here, I see this as kind of a fair thing. Now, if they use how they use it, right? So, for example, if they say that if someone says, "I want Henry to be trans," and this and that. And someone says, well, I don't want Henry to be trans. And they ban the guy that says, I don't want Henry to be trans. But they don't do anything to the person who said, I want Henry to be trans because if you don't disagree, you're a sexist bigot and all that stuff. Then obviously they're interpreting the rules for in favor of another side. Because this one seems to me personally, and you can all disagree, but to me personally, this shows a more neutral stance. Is how what we have to worry about, and we've seen it before with community managers. How are they going to translate that? That should tell us what's going on, and that should tell us how Warhorse is going to treat it if we ask them to hold those community managers and mods accountable. All right, so here's another part that says KC2 is proven to be 100% woke, and cresters are all catch on lies. They're the first case where someone says, "Well, you can't play as blank because he isn't hetero," blah blah blah. So we're already having a culture war, so to speak, over KCD2. All right, here is Daniel Vagra's statement. If you probably already know, the game is exactly what I want it to be. No one has tried to influence me as an artist in any way, and anyone who knows me knows I wouldn't let them anyways. I'm willing to give him a benefit of a doubt because y'all have to remember, in KCD1, journalists and game devs tried to get his game to fail. And all it did was create a Streisand effect. It means that a lot of people, just like what I said about Hillary Clinton wanting to ban San Andreas over a coffee mod, I didn't play GTA until after someone told me about it. And I said, well, I'm going to see this for myself. I didn't know Kingdom Come Deliverance was coming out. No one said anything until this came up, just like with Black Myth Wukong. And I love both games so far. So we have to understand that he was persecuted. I'm not saying he's a leftist. I'm not saying he's right wing. I'm not saying he's on our side. I'm saying, based on his words, he's making a game he wants to play. Or he wants to make, I should say. Every character in the game has a very clear reason to be where they are, and I hope so, which you'll understand when you play the game. Our goal was to show life in medieval Bohemia as it easily could have been and tell an interesting story. At the same time, it's a role-playing game, so it's purely up to the player what decisions they make and for all decisions they make. They are responsible for the consequences and that correspond to the morals and social norms at the time. I don't want to spoil the plot, the important events and roles of some characters for anybody. So you'll have to see for yourself by playing the game, and then I strongly believe you will agree with me. Now, for me, yes, he didn't really answer. It's really a non-answer. I'll agree with Hypnotic on that one. But for me, he's saying everything right as well. If you look at if you watch me play KCD, the first one, right? We have a lot of options. And based on those options, a lot of things can happen. We can lose reputation. We can gain reputation. It changes how people perceive us. All these kind of things, right? So, Freedom Fighter says, I'm just sick and tired of this. They never even existed in the 2000s. Well, hold on. I'm going to get to there. I also want to address that he put out a Twitter feed, right? I don't know. Can you guys see? Let me increase this. I thought I increased it. It's time to address what wild claims spread. So he says, there are no unskippable cutscenes in our games. Anybody who claims otherwise never played them. We are not or ever were banned in any country, at least that we know of. So he covers himself there in case they do get banned. As much as I don't like forced diversity, nobody forcing us to do anything. So he's saying he doesn't like forced diversity. He feels like this is natural to him. Okay. And I'll get into why where I think he's coming from. And we are not forcing anyone to do certain things. Gay characters are already in KCD1. Now, full disclosure, we have not finished KCD1, and I had not yet to meet a gay character. But then again, we've been focusing mostly on the main storyline to get through the main story. And if we have time, we'll do other things. But when we did sidetrack, we didn't see any gay characters. Everything seemed natural, so to speak. KCD is an RPG. You're responsible for your decisions. If you want Henry to have same-sex adventure, feel free. Now, this one here, I think a lot of people say, oh, this confirms it. But bear with me. I think I know why he said that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. All affairs are, and we're in KCD1, purely optional. For example, there's an achievement. If you go through the entire KCD1 and never sleep with a woman, there's an achievement in KCD1 where if you don't kill anybody except for Runt, which obviously, as we know from my streams, I did not choose that. I killed everybody that attacked me in Minecraft for YouTube. The game takes place in one of the richest cities in Europe, which was besieged by a massive foreign army. That's the reason why the life in such a city is more diverse than life in the villages, which were featured in the first game. Yes, if you remember, there's mostly villages. Even the things that can be considered a city were mostly villages. So I will give them that. Musa came to Bohemia with an invading army as a member of the royal court of King Sigismund, whom he met thanks to his engagement at the court of Sultan Bayezid. He's an educated noble and a Renaissance man from the kingdom of Mali. At the same time, Musa is an unusual figure for local Bohemian folk, and the many situations around him in the game stem from this. So his presence makes sense and creates a lot of interesting situations in the game. The way he talks, behaves, has a reason. Everything displayed corresponds to the morals and social norms of 1403 Bohemia, and is only there to make an interesting story and not at all to appeal to a modern audience. Now, I do want to mention here the 1403 because I'm going to show something that in his defense, but from what I remember, the timing is off. but we're going to humor him. We don't want KCD to be used as clickbait by people who didn't even play it yet. Some of them sadly turn into exactly the same narrative they pretend to be fighting against. The amount of hateful behavior is really sad and will damage any cause associated with it. So, now, I'm going to say that he was horribly attacked, brutally attacked on KCD1. So already I'm assuming he doesn't know any of us. He doesn't know Hypnotic. He doesn't know Revs Desu, any of these YouTubers from Adam. He doesn't know me. I did send him an email, I did send him a DM from X. I don't expect a response, where I asked him my thoughts on it, and if I was somewhere in the ballpark, and I asked him if he could say it without conflicting anything. I talked basically about the mechanics of it. And the reason being is because well, there's a lot going on. Oh, that's not it. For example, there was an elite fighting force, Army of Hungary. All right. Now, King Matthias, Controversies of Hungary, reigned supreme in Eastern Europe and the Balkans and mid-front, and the Black Army is one of the reasons why. A visionary leader might recognize the importance of securing his national borders in order to recognize his boss. All right. Now, I forget where it was. Maybe this is the wrong one. Where is it? I don't think it's in this one. I think I got the wrong one. Hold on. I'm still learning. I wanted to cover this real quick, and I forgot to. Hold on. Where's it at? 1400. I gotta pull it back up. All right, I can't find it anymore. All right, well, I do apologize. But basically, the Hungarian army was made up of different mercenaries from different parts of the war. There were some that were Asians. There were some that were yeah, I don't have it on here. There was some from the Far East. There was some from Africa that made up of this army, the Black Army. Now, if I remember correctly, the Black Army was in the mid 1400s, right here, mid 1400s. So 1430, I think it was when around that time period. So that's 30 years later from 1403. So that time period, if Henry is in his 20s to early 30s, right, he would be about 50 or 60 years old if he lived that long. Now, another thing I want to point out is the gate part. As the popular belief is that there's a gauging, right? That's the popular belief. This is from August 2019 at 9 a.m. from SSB News. There is no single gauging according to the largest ever DNA analysis, right? Study found that many genetics variants play each role in homosexual behavior. Now, what I want to point out is like size or intelligence, extraction isn't defined by one gene alone, but is a result of the complex interplay between multiple regions of the genome and hard to pin environmental factors. Like, for example, the schools you go to and that kind of stuff, right? That's the conclusion of analysis conducted 500,000 DNA profiles as part of a giant study by researchers in Europe and the United States published in influential journal Science on Thursday. All right, this was based on the popular notion in the 90s of an existence of an all-powerful gay gene. That's what science says. We make a hypothesis. There's no gay gene. And then we go through that study and find out there's no gay gene, but there's new data. For example, there's several factors that go into it. Right. There's no single gay gene, but it controls many small genetic effects across the genome, says Mr. Neal. Added to this are environmental factors, how a person is raised in childhood, where they live as an adult act. For an example, I couldn't find a study, but someone I remember hearing about it, is that you're most likely to be gay in a city than you are in a country. All right. If you want more sources, here's another one, Live Science. If you want to accuse me of using a Christian source, which I don't know if that's Christian or not. Live Science is mostly atheist. The gay gene is a total myth, massive study concludes, basically saying the same thing, but in more text. Science American in 2012 shows the popular vote, is homosexuality a choice? The question is, yes, people choose to be gay. They're making a moral choice, which government should discourage. No sexual preference is biologically determined. Those are still the arguments to this day. And that's in 2012, right? So in 1990s, they said there's a gay gene, and people are still arguing in 2012 that it's a choice. I'm part of the it's a choice camp where you, and I'm not going to say it's an immoral choice. That's different. People can choose to be gay, right? You can have a gay moment, a homoerotic moment coming up, and you can choose to pursue that, or you can choose not to. That's your right to choose. Okay. The narrative they're spinning here is that the people who say it's a choice to be gay is immoral and stuff, they're trying to spin it as something that's like based on an all-powerful spaghetti monster. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I believe in certain things. But I will say when I was an atheist, I still had these beliefs because no one could give me conclusive proof, even to this day, that you are born gay. It's decided by a bunch of different factors. Here's this Prism, homosexuality in medieval Europe. While this is a pro LGBTQ website, I decided to still choose it because they said since there was no unified government or state, the Catholic Church became the main source of authority in Europe. Later, homosexuality was largely viewed and upheld by society as a sin. And it says individual classes of homosexuality were all individual cases of homosexuality were often overlooked in day-to-day life in the middle to the early Middle Ages. Distinction was not really between gay and straight, but between reproductive and non-reproductive sex. The medieval church only sanctified exclusive and procreative marriages, meaning opposite sex activity that was not for reproduction was also not considered acceptable. However, as the church became facing more criticism from scholars, they became increasingly concerned with preventing scandals that would diminish their authority. And we've seen a couple of those in Kingdom Come Deliverance. There was a theologian, Peter Damian, who coined the term sodomy in the 1000s in relation to clerical homosexual relations. However, this term was used for any non-procreative sexual acts. He wrote an entire book addressing to Pope Leo the Ninth about corruptions, including homosexual relations within the church and monastery, calling for a reformation. Pope Leo responded in promising action against socio-community crimes in nature. Another theologian, Thomas Aquinas, also used the discourse of nature to cast any non-productive sex as sinful. So the church eventually began targeting homosexuality, enforcing stricter disciplines in monasteries. Now, the Bible does say that God finds homosexuality perverse. But here's the thing I want to point out. There's a large increase in city laws regarding homosexuality. The actual prosecution of same-sex activity often wasn't royal or I can't say that. Basically, church courts, but in urban cities, just like with stake burnings. Many towns, especially in Italy, legislated about homosexual acts. These called for various punishments, including maiming, death, fines, or exile. The cities of Lucca, Venice, and Florence even created special legal structures for the 1400 ban of sodomy accusations. Still, there weren't as many prosecutions for same-sex activity. Plus, it was also rare. There's not a lot of people that are going to come out and say they're gay, right? So as we see, these were urban laws. They were influenced from Christian or Catholic ideology, right? But these weren't enforced by the crown. These weren't enforced by the Pope. And it was there. My argument here is think of drugs, right? Think of drugs. Let's say you're pro marijuana. You say that marijuana should be legal. I don't care. I'm not going to get into the full discussion. I want to use this as an example. And let's say in your area, marijuana and weed is illegal. But you're neutral to it. Let's say you're neutral. You say do what you want. And you see a guy, your friend, or just some random person smoking marijuana. Are you going to go run through the streets and say he's breaking a law, or are you going to just ignore it? Right? Most people will just ignore it because they don't want to deal with it. He got bigger fish to fry, right? Well, let's just say you're the same person goes on your property, and by law, if you're found with marijuana in your possession or on your property, regardless if it's yours or not, you're going to jail, and you don't want to deal with that. So you tell the person, hey, I don't want to see that here. I want you to leave my house. I want you to leave my property. I don't want this here, right? And let's say the guy says, okay, yeah, we're gonna. He puts it away. He pulls the blunt out, and notice the thing, and because you don't want to you don't want to go to jail for someone else's action, right? But let's just say he refuses to do so. So you call in the police. You didn't want to. You gave him a chance to not do it in your property, right? And you call for it, right? So you call the guards arrest that person, so that way you're absolved from the thing because it wasn't yours and you did the right thing by enforcing that law. When in reality, you wouldn't have done that if the guy just put it away and was on his person, not in your property, and you didn't partake all that stuff, and you could be proven innocent of all that, right? So there's that. So was there homosexuality in middle-aged Europe? Yes. Was it frequent? No. Is it possible we could see a Brokeback Mountain thing based on our actions? Yes. So that would say that, yes, Henry is still canonically straight. But I'm wondering if Daniel's intent is to prove or is to say his narrative that homosexuality is a choice. There's a lot of people that believe that homosexuality is a choice. So I'm wondering if that's that is in there for it, and to give you a medieval perspective. What if I was gay in a medieval perspective? Maybe he wanted to add that. Does it fit with the story though? That's something that we have to wait and see. That's why I'm remaining neutral on Kingdom Come Deliverance, right? And there's even a Time article about it. So while I did show this, the reason it says it's 7-minute read, but I'm not going through here and reading all this. Okay. But you can pause it. You can read it yourself, right? So my belief is it possible? Is it a possibility? Yes. But that's totally different than what we have here. Dragon Age of Elgard. We all get through the Dragon Age of Elgard. I'm just going to, if y'all remember, I posted a video on my thoughts. And I said, I don't think Dragon Age of Elgard is going to succeed, and I don't think it's for me because they said in the trailer, Defy the Gods, which told me that's going against the very lore. And sure enough, they even said that. I posted articles. And let's see if it worked out. Now, this is Dragon Age of Elgard's reviews. Most helpful of all time is what I selected, so y'all can see for yourself. Being someone who's been a fan since the early days, it pains me to downvote this. Okay, Vilgard is not a good Dragon Age game. One thing up front, not liking this game has nothing to do with it being too woke. All right, not recommended. Waited 9 years for a new installment of Dragon Age series, one of my favorite games of franchises. I've always been a fan of Bioware games like Mass Effect and OG Baldur's Gate. And so you can pause this for yourself, right? But there's a lot of not recommended, not recommended. This is the most helpful. People found this the most helpful. I beat the game, took 62 hours. I wanted this game, not helpful. Not for, here, this one I want to point out, not for old school Dragon Age fans. This is what I said in the beginning. This is not meant for me. I'm an old school Dragon Age fan. Which someone said I was psychotic and I don't know the lore, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And even I was arguing with someone on Twitter just recently where someone was saying, I don't know what I'm talking about Dragon Age. It didn't fail because it wasn't a good game. It failed because it went over budget. It went over budget. That doesn't matter. What matters is, did the market meet demand? Well, did they meet the market's demands? They supplied a product. And as we can see, I'm just going to scroll through here. I'm not going to read them all. I'll just do this. Oh, wait. We had someone. under 40 hours on record, over 50 hours. I confidently say, unfortunately, people who are going to enjoy this game are the most brand new fans or casual Dragon Age endorers. But I do recommend it. That's what he says. So even he is saying what the people who don't agree with. If you're a Dragon Age fan, a true fan, you're not going to enjoy this game. But if you're a brand new fan, or if you're a modern audience or casual Dragon Age, you're going to enjoy it. Right? I'll do my help to people with review, like me, are torn between good, bad, and good reviews. There's a lot of fuss about, right? So he gives his own take. I'm not going to read all this, but we go down. Here's another one, right? And one thing I do know from watching people's streams, because that was my concern, is like, is this game meant for me? I didn't play it. I hope I said this right. TYTY. So TXCR says the game is just cringe. It's running nice, but the dialogue is just making me turn my head away from the screen. Are you talking about Dragon Age Veilguard? Have you played the game? Scott Hodvit, hello. But like I said, I'm not going to scroll through it completely. I think I gave you enough. There's more most helpful not recommended than there are unrecommended, right? But then you're talking about Dragon Age. Okay. Yes, I haven't played the game. All right. Corrine Bush is the ruler of RPGs, conqueror of haters. We've all seen this title, right? He is supposed to be this big, he was the creative director. He was solely responsible for the production of this game to make it a success. He called himself a queer master and bragged about all these little things, right? All the game developers who created Dragon Age have left Bioware. All right. From what I understand, there's no one at Bioware right now who worked on the OG Dragon Age titles. And he's the one, and I say he because while he looks like a woman and they say her, he's an XY. He was born XY. So while he might say he's a woman, I should respect him. I am respecting him because he was born a man, and it's not my fault he can't come to terms with how he was born. He can't control that. He wishes he was something else. That's not my problem. I'm going by the science. The science says he's XY. So he's XY. I don't know his original name, so I'm not going to use his imaginary name. And since I might get taken down for quote unquote dead naming, I'm just gonna say he. But since if y'all want to know what I'm saying by he, Corrine Bush. As y'all know, he says they made this praise for him, right? Like, oh, he did it, this and that. They're trying to do damage control and say he's the first trans creative director that did a really good game. And he conquered all the chuds. Unfavorable. There's one here. If you look at, and the defense was, if you look at this game objectively without expectation of another Dragon Age title or another Bioware game, this game is amazing. It's got everything. So if it wasn't based on if you don't look at the fact that it was made by Bioware, based on the reputation as Bioware for making solid, great story games, and if you ignore the fact it's a Dragon Age game, it's a great game. That's what they're saying. Now, people said Bioware got rid of its best writers, and it shows. The dialogue in this game is emphasized as political messaging, which is what TYTYXCR is saying, I believe. I'm not going to go fully into it, but there's a lot of, again, bad reviews, right? A lot of negatives, a few positives, and some mixed. And if this game was so popular, and Corrine conquered all the chuds, right? If he conquered all the chuds, Insider Gamer reports, EA stock dropping 17% following Dragon Age, the Veilguard's disappointing sales. He's responsible for this. And so other the suits above him that greenlit this, right? Did he conquer the chuds? Did he make a big success? No. All right. But I want to point out here is that they're trying to say that in addition to Veilguard, EA also attributes its shit in the annual forecast to EA Sports FC 25, which also misses internal expectations. Now, like sports video games, they had their niche audience, right? I personally don't play sports games unless you want to count Tony Hawk's Underground back in the day. That was like the only sports game I played I actually liked. But let's look at EA Sports. This is from since its release back in 29th of September 2024. Goes down a little bit, right? For players. These are players, right? To today, right? That's from SteamDB, right? Last 30 days it went up, gain, right? Now let's compare that with Dragon Age the Veilguard. Going back, just to show y'all, almost 50% gaming reviews to about 47, right? 92,475 in games since September, you know? This one came out. Let's set the price. We don't want the price. Where's it at? Where's it at? Did I forget to? Arts Max. Its peak months ago was not even close to the sports game, right? And as we can see from the difference from its release to now, right? It was released October 31st. So basically a couple days after the soccer game, right? After the soccer game. 27th September, right? So a month after the soccer game. And it still has a steady niche clients, even though that it has bad reviews. It still has about almost 100K in game currently at the time of this video. Here, all peak was 89, but they have barely 10. They have just a little over 5K in game, and it just shows a steady decline. So while Steam is saying, "Oh, we didn't meet expectations," sports, right? Veilguard and EA Sports did fail to make expectations. Okay, all right, that's fair. You know, that's fair. That sales of Dragon Age Inquisition exceeded 12 million copies, right? They're added. This is from 2024, right? Dragon Age was released in November 2014 on PC, placing Xbox making the most successful launch of any Bioware game in April 2018. They are described as the best-selling game in the studio's history. Whether it still holds its title, the developer did not specify. The click to the link says from 2015, Dragon Age Inquisition had the most successful launch in history. All right. During Q2, we repurchased 2.5 million shares at the cost of $97 million. And so, while my natural tendency is to ignore EA's fiscal 2015 Q3 earnings call, a bit of news made it worthwhile diving in. Okay. So, back in 2015, Dragon Age was considered the most successful launch in history. I'm just going by the news articles. Exactly. We don't know how many sales, but TY says, my coworker loved FIFA, but he said he can't play anymore because he doesn't use real money for better players. And he gave at some point, you can't win because somebody buy the better best. Yes, microtransactions. So like I don't play sports games, but from what you're saying, it sounds like they went with more microtransactions. You have to buy certain players, just like certain baseball teams buy certain best players contracts so they can win the World Series. I forget. I wouldn't know anything about that though. But here's one thing in my defense, right? So so we've already said that Dragon Age Inquisition is the most successful launch, right? But here's another reason why you can't add sports games as saying why it was also the reason why the market dropped. No, the market dropped because you had someone that preached their politics rather than being good stewards of an IP franchise. Top 10 greatest video games genres. Role playing, according to this one, as at number 1. First-person shooters, number 2. Sandbox, number 3. Action adventures, number 4. Open world, number 5. Platformer, number 6. Fighting, number 7. Hack and slash, number 8. Real-time strategy, number 9. Turn-based strategy, number 10. And if you scroll all the way down, sports is at number 25. Here's another one. C-Tongue says the most played video games the most played video game genres from battle royale to simulation. Battle royale, right? First person shooters, MOBAs, role playing games, open world games, then sports games. Right? And then they put platformers and everything else, right? And then you got your Candy Crush, right? Those are your casual games, in my belief, and simulation games, mobile games on the go, right? So basically, we're going to point out here that role playing makes more money than sports. So already, if you're trying to tell me that FIFA is also the damage, your narrative is still failing. And I'm going to give another example. Your damage is still failing because the game that has so far, as we're seeing, is not considered one of the top gaming genres. Beat Veilguard and players and sales, as we have seen, then that means that Veilguard did a lot worse in expectations. A lot worse. Most popular video game genres of 2025 from Rocket Brush Studio. Shooters, adventure, RPG, battle royale, strategy, sports, puzzle, idle, racing, simulation, fighting, horror, survival, MOBA, card game. So according to them, RPG still trumps sports. That's 3 sources, right? This is from the 80 level. Dragon Age Veilguard underperforms with only 1.5 million copies sold. 50% lower than Electronic Arts projected results. Some people are arguing that this did better than Dragon Age Inquisition, and that's not fair to account for inflation. Well, if you account for inflation, Dragon Age Inquisition, if sold today, based on those projections that would like, if it was made today and it made that much money today, when you adjust for inflation, it would smoke Veilguard. Yes, the mobile games make TYTY says mobile games make more because they trick kids to use money of their parents. Plus, my ex-wife was a big Candy Crush player. She doesn't consider herself a gamer. She only played it when she was waiting at the hospital for an appointment, or she was waiting in line to get her groceries paid for. Just a time waster, a money waster. She didn't really play it. If she was home, she would watch her Korean soap operas and dramas. She was Korean. So, to be fair, hello Rio. To be fair, I don't consider a casual player a gamer. And a lot of people use that narrative. 50% of women play games. They add those casual players, right? They've even admitted as such. But continuing on, Electronic Arts has published the preliminary results for the third quarter of fiscal year, officially confirming that Bioware's Dragon Age: The Veilguard has not only failed critically, but financially as well, revealing the game has sold only around 1.5 million copies in the first 2 months since its launch on October 31st last year. Compare that with Black Myth Wukong, it sold over 10 million copies in its first month. According to EA's statement, the studio has initially anticipated mid-single-digit growth in live services, new bookings, now projects, and blah, blah, blah. So, here again, right? This is upon the publication of a press release. Electronic Arts dropped about 11.5 in extended after-hours trading. So, even here we see, if you don't supply what the market wants, what the market demands, you're going to fail. And when you try to preach and shame them, obviously, you fail. Game developer. This is what happens. Now, this is why people say she got fired or forced to resign. Now, here they're saying he leaves Bioware at EA after an 18-year stint, right? This is from game developer. Dragon Age Veilguard director Corrine Bush has developed Bioware and EA. Departed from Bioware. In a statement to Eurogamer, he explained he was presented with an opportunity he couldn't turn down. Bush first joined EA in 2006 as a designer and later worked on the Sims 3 expansion. Beginning in 2019, he joined Bioware as the lead systems designer until he gradually worked up to being a game director on Veilguard, which released last October. Writing the ship, in his statement, Bush stated his exit was voluntary and that he left having achieved what he set out to do in Bioware. So he wanted to destroy Bioware stock and EA stock? Okay. His comments reflect Bioware's Veilguard's initial beginnings as a live service game made over the years, later converted to a single-player affair as Bioware reprioritized Dragon Age and Mass Effect after Anthem's collapse in 2021. The chance to return Dragon Age to a proper quality single-player RPG was the privilege of a lifetime. He continues. It was hard-fought as games with such tumultuous dev cycles rarely end up shifting and even more rarely turn out great. We as a team did it. You sure about that? You sure about that? I mean, you say you did it, but look how that read. Moving on. Where's that here? Because the team did it and it was hard. It took a toll on me. Bioware still have a lot of work to do culturally, but I do believe they are on the right footing now. Bioware has a lot of work to do culturally. Now, shout out to Smash JT. All right. He puts his thing out a couple days ago. Corrine Bush is out of Bioware. Corrine Bush, a controversial trans game director known for injecting critical ideology, a high contested fantasy role-playing game, Veilguard has officially announced his departure for Bioware. This has come to really no surprise to anyone who's been following the growth struggles of Bioware and EA over the past few months. Now, with the Corrine's departure confirmed through a series of posts, the Blue Sky situation continues to ravel. I suppose you've heard, yes, I made a decision to leave Bioware. I want to encourage everyone not to read too much into this. Basically, do not look at the man behind the curtain. This was my decision so I could continue making the kind of RPGs we enjoy. Thank you for outpouring of love and support. You mean the world to me. All right, so there's the original tweet. Notice how he sources the Eurogamer article that sources Jeff Grubb. Again, one big club, even between developers and journals, which is what Gamergate is totally about, is the incestual relationship between devs and journos. Corrine went to the further express gratitude to Bioware and specific cause, notably, thank you for entrusting me with our dear Dragon Age. It was an honor to be a steward to the franchise, a poor steward, might I add, and play a part to ensure its continuance, which I think you played a part in its death. Biggest of shout outs to the wonderful blah, blah, without whom I don't know if I'd had the fortitude. All right. For context, this guy is John Epler, who is the creative director, writer, and as he put it, other stuff for Dragon Age to Veilguard. Okay. While Corrine tries to paint his departure as a personal decision, the broader context tells a different story. Dragon Age Veilguard was a significantly commercial failure, rumored to sell only 1.5 million copies against a ridiculous original target of 10 million. For a franchise as storied as Dragon Age, this shortfall is nothing short of absolutely catastrophic. Corrine's relationship was, I'm not going to read all this. I think we got the message. The evidence has shown BioWare and Dragon Age has failed because of Corrine Bush. They chose someone based on their sexual orientation and their identity rather than the merits of their progress. They like to point out, to be fair, he was a Sims. He was working on the Sims. But did he do an RPG? Is he worthy of holding the title creative director? As we can see, he made those calls, made all the shots of Dragon Age. Right? He made all the calls. When he took office, even if it was in production before he took that role, he's the one that can decide, yes, we're going to go this way, no, we're going to go that way. Unless someone above him says, no, I want you to do this. One, for example, we don't want to do live service, which I don't know why they would do live service. That was nonsense. All right. Now let's talk about Doom. All right, let's talk about Doom. Just so y'all know, Doom has on Steam a franchise sales of 80% off at the recording of this video. You have the Doom Anthology for $28 from $103. You have Doom going from $40 to $10. You have Doom Eternal Year One Pass. Like, there's a lot of these things that are going off. Like, you can get the original Doom and Doom 2 for basically $4. So just putting that out there for people who want to get a good game for their buck. But that's not what this is all about. Now, if y'all watched the director developer direct and my previous DragonCast, y'all know I was very excited when I saw Doom: The Dark Ages. But I want to shout out to Pirate Nation who made this aware of me. I forgot to bookmark it. I need to get better at that. But there is a problem with Doom the Dark Ages. It's not that it's woke. It's not that there's a trans character in it. It's not that they made it look all cartoony. As you can see, it's very sexy. It's very awesome. It's still something I would love to play. And I'm not telling you don't get this game. I'm just doing a buyer beware because for me, I'm still hesitant about this based on my own knowledge, what's coming up. According to Steam, it incorporates third-party DMR Dunovo anti-tamper. What is Dunovo? Why is Dunovo anti-consumer bad? If you have a problem with your payment method or later game purchase, your account will be disabled, blocking all your Dunovo games from working. Steam support is notoriously slow for response that your account may be disabled for weeks or months. Supporting the ability of platforms to disable your entire game library is anti-consumer. Dunovo stops games from supporting Linux or OS X. Not only do the publishers not release ports, but using Dunovo means third parties like the Wine Project can't support them either. Games like Inside, the sequel to Limbo, are an example of Dunovo stopping Linux support. For example, excuse me. And Inside is built using Unity Engine, which can easily make Linux builds, but because they are using Dunovo, it can't be played on any other operating system. Another example is Doom 2016. The beta version worked great on Linux when used with Wine Project, but the final release came encumbered with Dunovo, effectively stopping Wine from supporting the game on Linux and OS X, preventing games from working on other operating systems. Is anti-secure. It just goes down. Like, I'm not going to read the whole thing, right? Because there's another way I can show you this, but I'm just showing this for the context of there's a history. What is Dunovo? Why do gamers hate it? Dunovo is an anti-piracy DRM solution that some developers include in their games. Dunovo has been known to hurt game performance, making the game's experience worse. Dunovo is designed to make games more difficult to crack, making it impossible for people to pirate them until a while after their release. All right. Dunovo is one way game makers can deter piracy and boost sales, but isn't without controversy. Dunovo is one of the most disliked anti-piracy solutions out there. But why? What makes it so unpopular with gamers? Here's everything you need to know from How to Geek. What is Dunovo? Dunovo is a digital rights management DRM solution with anti-tamper for game developers. Game developers can license Dunovo and integrate it into their PC games. If they do, the Dunovo software provides anti-piracy protections. It's designed to make it more difficult for people to crack games and distribute them for free. According to Dunovo, it stops the reverse engineering and debugging required to crack a game. No anti-piracy solution is perfect, but Dunovo promises the longest crack-free release window. In other words, game developers are hoping their games won't be cracked for a while, forcing people who might otherwise pirate the game to buy it if they want to play the game without waiting. Dunovo isn't an additional piece of software that is installed on your computer, and you won't see it in your list of installed software. A game that uses Dunovo has Dunovo anti-piracy software integrated into its code. If the game is running, Dunovo is running as part of the game. Anyone who wants to crack a game has to get around Dunovo protection, which makes it that process more difficult. Does Dunovo hurt game performance? Fair-minded gamers should want game developers to make money selling games. Yes, we all want a game to succeed. We want developers to be rewarded for their hard work. But it's got to be good. I mean, you've got to earn our money, right? That's not what this is all about. They continue. Like often happens with anti-piracy solutions, gamers have long objected to that Dunovo creates problems for legitimate paying customers. Dunovo claims this is nonsense. The official Dunovo website says anti-tamper has no perceptible effect on game performance, nor is anti-tamper to blame for any game crashes of genuine experience. Yeah, Dunovo claims that. They're going to claim that for their project because they want to cover their bacon. They don't want to lose their golden goose. But there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. The director of Tekken 7 blamed Dunovo's DRM for performance problems in a PC version of the game. For example, a rare case where a game developer rather than merely a player knocked Dunovo. Some game developers have removed Dunovo from their games after release. Overlord Game ran some benchmarks on the Denuvo without Denuvo versus these games. As Extreme Tech notes, Dunovo causes performance issues in nearly every tested game, from long loader times to frame rate drops. Dunovo's protection appears to be slower things down. Performance sometimes improves by 50% after Dunovo is removed by the developer. The results generally point to Dunovo hurting performance at the most in two scenarios. When you're CPU bound, the power of your CPU is the limiting factor. When you're storage bound, when the read or write speed of your storage is a limiting factor. So if you're playing a game with Dunovo and your performance is hurting, you're experiencing terrible loading times, try installing it on a fast NVMe drive or upgrading your CPU. Otherwise, you'll just have to wait for a performance patch from the developers. And yes, one thing I want to mention is Black Myth Wukong had Dunovo, and it caused us some problems when we were battling the Tiger and even the Yellow Sage. It was really dropping our frame rates, and sometimes I still experience it today, but not as bad. Okay, and you can read this for yourself. You can look it up yourself. How to Geek, Dunovo. Here's Ars Technica. Rhyme allegedly runs faster with Dunovo. DRM stripped out. Okay. Basically say the same thing. That when they removed it, like I'm just gonna skip it, but when they said when they removed it, it ran better. Here's another one. Dunovo wants to convince you its DRM isn't evil. Simply mention the name Dunovo amongst gamers is pretty much guaranteed to get you an instant strong reaction. Just look at the comment threads underneath any Ars article covering Dunovo, and you'll see plenty of complaints about the DRM enhancing anti-piracy technology. Erdetto, the company that acquired Dunovo in 2018 purchase, doesn't generally make a habit of commenting at length on this reputation or its secretive DRM schemes in the public press. So when Erdetto Chief Operations Officer of video games Steve Hume agrees to defend his company publicly in an interview with Ars Technica, I jumped at the chance to talk to him. Right? And you can read all this. I'm not going to put it, but I'm just saying, like, they have, basically, my point is in sharing these articles, not just to read them, but to show that there is a history with Dunovo, right? Because I'm just going to do this, right?
Sometimes even be broken before release. But actually, when you look at recent years like 2023 and 2024, that's actually not really the case anymore. Dunovo does appear to be significantly more resilient than it was in the past. In 2024, just one game has been bypassed. Yeah, one game, and that's Metaphor ReFantasio, but the reason why it was bypassed is because the demo they released didn't have Dunovo. So because people had access to the demo, they were able to build a workaround. Now, looking back at 2023, you do see that more Dunovo games were actually not cracked than were cracked, which is definitely their technology getting more.
And we're going to show that video next to comparisons with Dunovo and not Dunovo. Let's go back here.
Dunovo is an anti-piracy solution for PC games that's not just a simple phone home to a server to authenticate that a game is legitimate sort of thing. What it does is it works at runtime using virtualization and other obfuscation techniques to prevent tampering with game code, right? Now, there are times where this has had a barely noticeable impact on game performance, but not always. There are well-publicized instances of Dunovo protected versions of games running pretty damn badly, and clearly documented cases where a cracked version of a game that removes Dunovo will significantly outperform the legally purchased Dunovo counterpart. Now, Dunovo had always held the line that that's not what's going on and that it's not their fault, but at the very least, what their pitch would be, right, is that, look, your game is going to be cracked at some stage, but the point of Dunovo is they will make it take so long for your game to be cracked that your launch window at full RRP will be protected.
By the way, shout out to Bioware News for covering this.
Well, we've got Black Myth Wukong, that had Dunovo, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which confirmed that it would have Dunovo on launch on PC, meaning that Steam forum users were not best pleased. So that's the thing, Dunovo gets hate, their partners get hate. Now EA have left them out and they know they have a bad reputation. And to solve all this, they've decided that it's time to start talking directly to us and to the press. And to support our work in stories like this, I've partnered with today's sponsor.
Okay, so basically, as he said, long story short, Dunovo has a bad reputation and it's been proven over time and time again, right? Before I continue on, he did mention Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 will have Dunovo, unless I misheard him. Well, according to 80 level, Kingdom Come Deliverance won't have Dunovo. Warhorse officially confirmed that KCD2 will be shipped without the controversial DRM. Last month, the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 Steam forums had got flooded with negative comments, and this was back in November of 2024. The upcoming game and its developers over their preferred plans to ship the long-awaited sequel with Dunovo, a controversial DMR technology, makes piracy harder but can hinder game performance. So even 80 level. And 80 level is mostly for game developers and about the game industry. The rumor emerged when Vernon V, a customer support representative from Planion, the parent company of KCD2's developer Warhorse, and publisher Deep Silver, appeared to confirm the game would include Dunovo. This, along with Deep Silver 2019 comments about their policy of shipping games with Dunovo. The negative reputation of the software question has, and the lack of any official statement from the developers, led many to believe the rumor, prompting a criticism of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and the cancellation of pre-orders. So this is right now the current cancellation of pre-orders is not the first time. After several weeks of uncertainty surrounding the subject matter, the developers have stepped forward and addressed it directly, putting the rumor to rest by officially announcing that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 will not include Dunovo. In a recent 2-hour Twitch stream showcasing KD2's gameplay and performance, Warhorse Studios global PR manager Tobias Stoles Z. Willing, also known as Sir Toby, confirmed that the game will launch on PC without the DRM, urging the community to bury that thing and never, ever, ever talk about it anymore. He also encouraged fans to wait for the official statements from Warhorse if a similar situation arises, and we did. Most of us did, right? For the current issue, which we discussed earlier, and to treat any rumors as false unless confirmed by developers. There were some discussions, of course. There were some misalignment. There was some misinformation. But at the end of the day, there won't be any Dunovo at all. And with it, that I would like you to close the case already, Sir Toby said during the stream. That is something you should really remember. As long as Warhorse doesn't announce anything, it's not true. Hello, Sergeant Garatina. That was the case with the announcement of KCD2. That would be with the specs, and for the instance right now with DRM. With the rumor now officially debunked, the only question that remains is whether the screenshot that sparked the controversy was fake, or if the Warhorse decided to remove the DRM in response to the overwhelming backlash to avoid their loyal Kingdom Come Deliverance. Either way, the only thing that matters is that Dunovo won't be present in the sequel, meaning the game's Steam floors are likely to return to normal in the near future. All right. Now remember, they said it's going to be on February 11th, 2025. But this was made back in November 2024. And to prove that, I did look it up. Here's the Steam page. You have a end user license agreement. That's it. Okay. Unlike Doom. Now Doom, if you saw the trailers, like even just here, you can tell it's going to be very heavy, performance heavy as it is. It's going to be extremely performance heavy. So right here, I'm already hesitant with the DR, not because I'm going to steal the game. I always pay for my games. I don't believe in not paying for my games. So if I can get the game for free and it be legally acquired, I will do so, but not at the cost of strings attached. And I will not do so illegally. I don't encourage that. I don't encourage pirating of any type. But I also don't want to deal with DRMs. I don't want to deal with EA Games stealing my data because I didn't know that they'll take my data, because I have in the option screen a data sharing is okay option toggled on by default. Right. With that being said, I think we do have time. Dunovo is doing work. I don't really see game get cracked. Oh, that's right. We forgot to show that video. So here's the video from Overlord Gaming that was referred to.
Over the last couple of years, several games have had their Dunovo protection bypassed or officially removed, which presented opportunities to analyze its impact on users. I tested the performance of these games before and after the removal, and this video is a compilation of the results. These are the games tested in this video. Before I get into my results, let's talk about the methodology used in my tests. I use the game's internal benchmark if one's available, since it's the easiest and most reliable way to create an identical load across the protected and unprotected builds. I tested the protected and unprotected builds on identical settings on the same hardware on the same day to ensure there was no difference in drivers or Windows updates. However, not all games were tested on the same drivers or on the same hardware. For example, Company of Heroes 3 was not tested on the same hardware that tested the Tomb Raider sequels. If you'd like to support content like this, consider becoming a patron. Without further ado, let's get into the results, beginning with Company of Heroes 3. You would tire of listening to numbers, so I'll just show you the results of my tests.
This is Dunovo. This is no Denuvo.
Ghostwire Tokyo is up next.
Look at that. With Dunovo, you get 139.5 maximum frame rate. Your minimum frame rate is 4.9 frame rate, frames per second. That's what FPS is. For no Denuvo, when you remove it, 38.6 frame rates per second for the minimum. The maximum is 146.8 frame rates per second. Let's see if we can let's go to Doom. Where's your Tomb Raider?
Moving on to Immortals of Avium. Let's move on to Borderlands 3.
So right then and there, you're also have an increase of file size. This one is Dying Light 2. Tomb Raider. And you can look up here in the corners, the GPU, memory, CPU, RAM, all the stats that's going around with it, right? So I guess they don't have Doom on here, or we skipped it. That's Denuvo for you. Now, that doesn't mean I'm telling you don't buy Denuvo. I would never tell you to don't buy Doom the Dark Ages. If you want to buy Doom the Dark Ages, that's fine. Just keep understanding that you need a high running PC. as well, because based on their specs here, where's that? Minimum specs versus recommended specs, right? So that's their specs that they would require. And then when you add Dunovo in there, I don't think a lot of people are going to have, for example, I don't think anyone's going to have an AMD 57,000 or better, or an iCore 7 or better. Like, some people probably have a computer that's a couple of years old. Because Dunovo hogs a lot of data, TY. So that's what they're saying, anyways, based on their thing. It runs better without Dunovo. It runs faster. It's because it's hogging all that memory. All right. So, and then there, like I said, there were some problems where if you got kicked out, you couldn't get your stuff back in. It makes it impossible to play games without some sort of internet connection. So if let's say you go offline, right? Let's say you were playing during a thunderstorm, and a thunderstorm comes out and shuts down your Wi-Fi, especially if you have something like Spectrum. I think let's go with Spectrum, right? You can't continue playing your game. Now, if I was streaming KCD1, right? Now I've never tried this offline. But if I played KCD1 and my internet goes out, my stream is down, sure, right? Now I've never tried this, but let's just say I can still continue playing KCD1. That is ideal for me. That's what I want. I want to be able to continue the game and not worry about if I have internet connection or not. I would like to load up my Steam library, play the game, and continue playing it. I should not have to worry about it too much. It should be like in the old days, in my view, like when I bought a game out of Walmart, loaded on my PC, installed the game. I don't know if it's a woke company, but it definitely isn't a good anti-piracy company. I'm anti-piracy myself. I believe that if you work hard and you earn for a product, and someone wants your product, you deserve to get money for that. I believe that person who wants your product should pay for that. If you don't agree with the price that they're demanding, then don't buy the game. I don't care how bad you want it. Theft is theft. That's why I'm against pirating video games, because it's just wrong overall. You can make all kinds of excuses. That's your personal view, but in my personal view, I don't condone it. And yes, there's people out there that have done this to make this type of product a necessity. But then there are people that like Dunovo, in my opinion, who are seeing the golden goose. There's people who are always going to make video games, so they don't have to improve their product. They're just going to keep saying, "Oh, this and that." But now the game developers are waking up. They're hurting for money because gamers aren't buying games. They're hurting. They're hurting. It's hurting game developers because gamers aren't buying games. It's hurting because they chose to use politics in gaming rather than making a beautiful game. Price localization. What are you talking about, TXDR? With Dunovo? Dunovo is something the developers buy and they add to their game. Okay. What I'm saying is, because someone asked a question about the woke company, I'm saying the reason why like EA games, certain companies are starting to repel from that is because they're starting to learn that the market doesn't like Dunovo, the market doesn't like this, the market doesn't like that, and they're not going to buy the game. So $80 in your country is a lot. Yes, I would say $80 in any country is a lot for a game. All right, I'm just going to say that right now. I don't think that. Let's see, this is for the gold edition. This is for the regular $60. Based on Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and looking at the graphics now and knowing that they're a little more popular, I would say I would be willing to risk $60 for this game. You told me it was, if you told me it was $49.99, I would say that's more reasonable for me. But I understand maybe my understanding of the market price is a little differently. You want me to pre-purchase the Gold Edition? What are you offering me? The Gold Edition says this is the base game, right? But if I buy the Gold Edition, they're saying, let's see. Well, I already bought the game, so this is basically. See, I'm not logged. Oh, well, you can't see it. I'm not logged in, so I already bought the game. All right, but I still think it's a fair amount because I'm going to get I'm guaranteed the base game and then with all the expansions, so I don't have to worry about that, right? So I would say, okay, yeah, this is worth the game. Now, if it comes out that the story sucks and the dialogue sucks and the game is choppy and the coding is not really good, and I discover all this in 2 hours based on the Steam policy, I'll be willing to pay for it. Now, a game like Dragon Age the Veilguard, do I have it here? Let's see. $59 or $60, right? The same price the other one. Dragon Age the Veilguard, based on the reviews, was horrible. I would not pay $60 for this. I would not pay $40 for this. I would not pay $20 for this game. It's basically garbage. But I will say, for people who want to know, why don't you do a buy and see? I already bought the game. So unless there's something that shows up as a huge red flag where I can return my money and get my investment back that I feel it's not worth to pay for, I'm still planning to stream Kingdom Come Deliverance on opening night, hopefully, knock on wood. Because I did that with Black Myth Wukong. But like I said, that's it for you to decide. Just like I'm not telling you don't go buy Dragon Age of Veilguard, which most people didn't do. I'm not telling you not to buy or to buy KCD, right? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you don't buy Doom. I'm not telling you any of that, right? That's not the nature of my thing. In fact, you could wait for a sale. Steam is known for a lot of sales. TY. So for example, if $80 is too much for your country and if you haven't played a Doom game, I recommend Doom and Doom 2 for $4. Doom, the 2016, for $3. Right now it's priced at $19.99. Doom 3 also $3. Doom 64, $2. Doom the original game, $4. Doom VFR, $3.74. So it's up to you, right? You could Doom Eternal, $10, right? Doom Anthology, which is all pretty much, it seems like it's all the games. That's $100. You can get all those games: Doom 1 and 2, Doom 3, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, Doom 64. You can get all those games. That's originally $103 for $28.30. So who's to say that later on down the road, Doom the Dark Ages will be on sale that's more your price range? Like, for example, I did not want to buy Dragon's Dogma 2 as much as I loved the game because of the microtransactions I felt was wrong. Plus, I'm not going to pay an extra $40 for all those things, add it to the game, and be like $110, $115. So I was like, I'm going to wait. I did not get Dragon Age Dogma 2 on the winter sale because I need it a little lower. I was not happy with the price. I still want to play that game, but I'm still iffy because I'm not big on microtransactions. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to announce the mystery game. So for those who are waiting, one of my things I'm going to do on DragonCast is I would like to announce upcoming games that sounds cool or interesting, stuff like that. Things to look forward to. Some might be indie games, some might be AAA that hasn't got a lot of announcements. And if you're familiar with of a certain meme, you might know what this is. People call it Dinosaur with a Sword. 80 level announces Genuine Xenoblade reaches over 10,000 wishlists on just one day. If you've likely been following the 3D animation scene at least 2022, you likely recall the viral animation of Spinosaurus wielding an oversized anime sword. Don't worry, I'm going to show you all video attached above, which is not here. Okay. Oh, let me move that link. Recently, the creator of the animation, Dwayne Nguyen, a senior gameplay animator at Sucker Punch, shared some exciting news for fans of his armed dinosaurs, announcing that the legendary meme is being turned into a fully fledged video game titled Dino Blade, the upcoming Souls-like action RPG. So if you're a Souls-like player, you might like this. I think I need to tell Hypnotic about it. He's a Souls-like player. Originated from Gene's demo reel animations, and thanks to the community's interest and support, it was turned into a game that has been secretly in development for about a year now. And speaking of the community's support, despite getting an official Steam page only recently, Dino Blade has already hit a milestone of 10,000 wishlists according to the artist. As for the game itself, Dino Blade is being developed by Team Spino and takes place right after a major event that changed what we know about dinosaurs. You play as a young Spinosaurus armed with a great sword, battling other weapon-wielding dinosaurs to prevent extinction. In this game, you will be able to explore diverse and breathtaking biomes, each home to different types of dinosaurs and a giant ruler of the land that you must defeat in order to progress. Defeat your enemies to get stronger and unlock new skills. Read the game's descriptions. You may learn powerful abilities to combine with your combos to suit your combat style, dodge, roll, and parry, and fight your way through this land of dinosaurs dinosaurs using weapons to uncover the mystery of it all. Become the alpha and save your home from this new threat. So look at that. This is just some screenshots. I don't know if I can. Look at that. That would be you, the player. Right? This is what they're building right now. Looks kind of cool. But wait till you see the animation. All right. So that's the end of the article. Now let's show you the cookie. Are y'all ready for this? It's only 30 seconds long. And if you go to his page, he's got a lot of videos. Here's another one. So, what'd y'all think of that, huh? I don't know. It didn't give much information, but I am, if you'll give me a second, because I was trying to do it and I got distracted. I am going to post the link to his YouTube in chat. I would say go give him a like. If you can, if you like it, like give him a follow. And look it up on Steam, you know? I don't know, what do y'all think? What did y'all think of it? Nice? Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, I knew of Dino Blade for a while. I remember 80 Level covered an article about this guy did a 3D dinosaur in Blender, and it looks amazing. And because like I used to do game design. I used to do not like AAA, but I was like a freelancer. So I know some of the basics of the game industry. And that's why I gave stuff like oh, now it wants to work. Now the chat thing wants to work. Okay, now the chat wants to work. But I like to give people I like to give people some of the knowledge I know for the industry. So I use game dev, I use 80 level, right? But I've known this for a while. And I didn't know it was going to be made into a game. I just knew about the meme. And I thought that was interesting. We will be doing DragonCast again, same time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. But we're about to wrap up. If you give me a moment, I wish that if you haven't already, and you think that my content is good enough, I'd like if I've earned your subscription, I'd be grateful if you hit that subscribe, and I would be grateful if you hit that like. I will be making these videos in bite-sized portions, and I hope over time I get better at DragonCast. Also, don't forget, for those who watch my Lavistro Play streams, we do have Lavistro Play scheduled at I just pulled a brain fart again. 10:15 is when the intro starts. So 10:15 Central, 11:15 Eastern tonight. So if you want to watch me do some Kingdom Come Deliverance play, we are currently doing the counterfeiter arc of the or quest line of the main storyline. So we'll be doing that. From what I heard from a friend, we are almost done with the game. We should be done by just in time for the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yeah, please leave a like, a subscribe, and if you just give me an uno momento, I would like another request from y'all, if I may, if y'all are still here on YouTube, that is. I would like you to go to my boss man. He's about to do Saturday Night Hypnosis at 7 p.m. It's 6:41 right now. So we actually made it on time, probably because I was talking too fast, but we actually made it on time. And so I'm giving y'all a link to his podcast where I got a mod. If you go in there, all I ask is you say Lavistro Raid. That's all I ask. Let them know that I sent y'all. There's not going to be any end credits because I haven't made the end credits yet. So just happy gaming. I'll be shutting down the stream in about a minute. So Lavistro Raid, all that stuff. We're going to go switch over here. No, that's not it. See ya. Yeah. Either Fear Fire 76. Go ahead. Say Lavistro Raid. Let them know I said hi. And we'll see y'all later.